Ian here from Backroad Betties, and the video we want to share with you today is about Durham, England. To get your bearings, this is the country of England, and Durham is up here in the northeast near Newcastle. Now, we were coming from Edinburgh up in Scotland, and so we had a pretty uneventful drive down to Durham, and we stopped for lunch at a nice little place along the way. Here's a little closer view of the area around Durham. Durham's actually down here, south of Newcastle. Now, we use this as a base to check out a couple of attractions in the area. But Durham itself was a nice little college town with some nice restaurants, so we enjoyed staying there. So when we first got there, the first day, we strolled around town and explored Durham. And then the first full day that we had, we drove up here to the Beamish Museum, which is a huge open-air museum that covers different time periods from the 1820s all the way through the 1950s. There's a couple different farms from different time periods, and a mine, and some towns that are set up in different decades, and we just scratched the surface, and we were there all day. And then the second full day, we actually drove over here to check out Hadrian's Wall, which is an old Roman wall that stretched from coast to coast across England. But we went to basically 3 sites along here. This was the Roman Army Museum, where we kind of got a little bit of history of what's going on with Hadrian's Wall. Then we went over here to Vindolanda, which is an excavated fort. Well, there's several forts on that location, Roman forts near the wall, and a museum there. Had lunch there, and then we drove up here to Housesteads, which is another fort right along the wall, but we actually didn't go check out the fort ruins there. We actually just walked up to Hadrian's Wall and walked a little ways along Hadrian's Wall. There was a little section where we could actually walk on top of the wall, and then we also walked a little ways alongside the wall. And then we drove back and had dinner at the restaurant inside the hotel that we were staying at, which was kind of in a residential area, kind of up the hill from the main town. So sit back, relax, and enjoy Durham, England.
I was waiting in the undertow, set adrift with featherweight like bones, unaware of where my heart would flow. I was waiting in the undertow. Can't touch the bottom, sit into a tumble, waves that shake me out of my skin. Never been so easy, losing my direction. My bearings have me south of home, but I've been wrong before. I was waiting in the undertow, set adrift with featherweight like bones, unaware of where my heart would flow. I was waiting in the undertow. And the water like a friend I've not seen in years, so familiar and strange at once, like a lover who lost her touch. At first I was hesitant, now it seems oh so curious. How'd I wind up so far from home when I barely had left the shore? And I was waiting in the undertow, set adrift with featherweight like bones, unaware of where my heart would flow. I was waiting in the undertow, and I was dreaming of the love I loved. I fell asleep within an autumn flow. I never knew I drew so far from home, while I was waiting in the undertow.
Thanks for watching. If you want more details about our experiences, look in the description below for a link to our related blog posts, so check that out. And if you haven't already, please subscribe. We'd really appreciate it. Ta-ta for now.